What would you say is your most prized treasure in your life?
My family. And I mean that because, everything else is a bonus.
Hollywood loves a fairy tale. It builds them, sells them, and makes us all believe. And for a while, no fairy tale felt more real or dazzling than Catherine Zeta-Jones's. She was the firecracker from Wales, a force of nature with a talent as big as her beauty, who completely took Hollywood by storm. She had it all: the handsome movie star husband, the storybook wedding, and a golden Oscar clutched in her hand. From the outside, her life wasn't just perfect. It was the blueprint for the ultimate Hollywood dream. But behind the flashbulbs and that iconic smile, a different story was taking shape. It was a story of fear, of crushing pressure, and of a silent battle taking root in the corners of her mind. While the world saw the glamour, she was living through a private nightmare. The very foundation of her fairy tale was about to be shaken by a terrifying health crisis that would threaten everything she held dear. And in the middle of that storm, another more personal challenge would be triggered, changing her life forever. This is the story of how Catherine Zeta-Jones's seemingly perfect life was tested and the immense courage it took to piece it back together. Imagine standing on the world's biggest stage, pregnant with your second child, as your name is called. You've just won an Academy Award, the highest honor in your profession. Your career is stratospheric. Your marriage to a Hollywood legend is the envy of the world. This was Catherine Zeta-Jones in 2003, the undisputed queen of the moment, living a life that seemed untouchable. Now cut to a sterile hospital room, to the relentless beeping of machines, and the hollowed-out fear of watching the person you love most fight for his life against stage 4 cancer. Cut again to the crushing silence of a health facility, where the star who seemingly had it all was forced to confront a battle of her own, bipolar II disorder. How did one of the most glamorous women in the world go from the pinnacle of success to a silent, heartbreaking fight for her own well-being? It's a story of unimaginable stress, hidden pain, and the true story behind the Hollywood dream. Long before Catherine Zeta-Jones was Hollywood royalty, she was a fiercely ambitious girl from Swansea, a working-class port city in Wales. Born to a seamstress and a factory worker, Catherine Jones, she'd later add the hyphen and her grandmother's name, Zeta, had a fire in her from the start. She didn't just like to perform, she needed to. From a young age, she was a standout in local school productions and quickly joined an amateur theater group. Her talent was undeniable. She commanded the stage, winning a national tap dancing competition at 13 and landing professional roles in West End productions of Annie and Bugsy Malone as a child. This wasn't some hobby, it was her calling. She was driven by raw talent and a burning desire to build a life beyond her humble beginnings. While other kids were dealing with teenage drama, Zeta-Jones was studying musical theater at the prestigious arts educational schools in London, honing the skills that would one day make her a star. Her big break in the UK didn't come from the stage, but from the screen. In 1991, she was cast as Mariette Larkin in the TV series The Darling Buds of May. The show was a massive hit, and Zeta-Jones became Britain's sweetheart overnight. But for her, this was a gilded cage. She grew tired of being typecast as the token pretty girl and knew her ambition was too big for one island. Her destiny, she felt, was in the star-making machine of Hollywood. After moving to LA, she landed a few TV movie roles, but her real destiny was waiting. Director Steven Spielberg saw her in a 1996 miniseries about the Titanic and immediately spotted her star power, recommending her for the lead in his upcoming production, The Mask of Zorro. That 1998 film wasn't just a breakthrough, it was an explosion. Starring opposite Antonio Banderas, Zeta-Jones was a magnetic force. Her fiery Elena Montero was a masterful blend of elegance, wit, and swashbuckling action. She held her own with a sword and captivated audiences with a smoldering screen presence that felt both classic and new. A new star had arrived. After Zorro, her ascent was meteoric. She starred with the legendary Sean Connery in the 1999 heist thriller Entrapment, cementing her status as a leading lady who could blend glamour with intelligence. But it was Steven Soderbergh's gritty 2000 drama Traffic that proved her true range. Playing Helena Ayala, the pregnant wife of a drug lord who was forced to take over the family business, she was terrifyingly brilliant, earning a Golden Globe nomination and silencing any critic who might have dismissed her as just another pretty face. By the turn of the millennium, Catherine Zeta-Jones was one of the most in-demand actresses in the world, and her fairy tale was just getting started. It was around this time she met the man who would become her husband, Michael Douglas. Douglas, himself Hollywood royalty, was 25 years her senior and instantly smitten after seeing her in Zorro. He arranged to meet her at a film festival, and their connection was immediate and powerful. They ignored the tabloid chatter about their age gap and, in November 2000, married in a lavish ceremony at the Plaza Hotel in New York. The couple, who share the same birthday, soon welcomed 2 children, Dylan and Karis. They weren't just a celebrity couple, they were a dynasty. The apex of her professional life came in 2002 with the film adaptation of the musical Chicago. As the murderous vaudevillian Velma Kelly, Zeta-Jones delivered a performance for the ages. She sang, she danced, and she commanded the screen with a ferocious energy that was simply breathtaking. It was the role she was born to play. In 2003, at the 75th Academy Awards, a very pregnant Catherine Zeta-Jones heard her name called for Best Supporting Actress. Holding that golden statue, she was at the absolute summit. She had the Oscar, the movie star husband, the beautiful family, and a legendary career. The Hollywood dream was real. From the outside, her life looked like a fortress of success and happiness. But no fortress is unbreakable, and a storm was gathering on the horizon that would test her in ways she could never have imagined. The year 2010 started out like any other for the Douglas Zeta-Jones family. But that summer, a shadow fell over their seemingly perfect life. For months, Michael Douglas had been complaining of a sore throat. Doctors had repeatedly misdiagnosed it, but Catherine knew something was seriously wrong. "It makes me furious they didn't detect it earlier," she would later say, revealing the fear she felt during that time. Finally, in August, a specialist saw what others had missed, a tumor at the base of his tongue. The biopsy confirmed their worst fears, stage 4 throat cancer. The diagnosis was a bombshell. Douglas immediately began an aggressive 8-week course of radiation and chemotherapy. The treatment was brutal, and he lost over 40 pounds. For Catherine, this period was a private hell. She put her career on hold to become his primary caretaker, trying to be the rock for her husband and their 2 young children. She later confessed, "When you get sideswiped like that, it's an obvious trigger for your balance to be a little bit off. Not sleeping, worry, stress. It's a classic trigger." She spoke of the helplessness of watching the man she loved, known for his incredible energy, become weak and frail. While she presented a brave face to the world, inside, she was crumbling. The constant, unrelenting stress of her husband's mortality, the fear for their children, and the strain of keeping up appearances all began to take an immense and invisible toll. In January 2011, the family got the news they had been praying for. Michael was cancer-free. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief. But while Douglas began the slow process of recovery, Catherine didn't. The months of anxiety and sleep deprivation had triggered something deep within her. In April 2011, the world was stunned when Zeta-Jones's publicist announced that she had sought treatment for bipolar II disorder, checking herself into a facility for a brief stay. The revelation was shocking, as it seemed at odds with the poised actress the public knew. But bipolar 2 is often misunderstood. It involves cycles of severe depression and a less intense elevated mood state called hypomania. For the person suffering, the dominant experience is often the crushing weight of depression. The stress of her husband's cancer battle had been the trigger. In an industry that prizes perfection, her decision to go public was incredibly brave. At a time when the stigma around mental illness was even more pervasive, she chose honesty over silence, telling People magazine, "This is a disorder that affects millions of people, and I am one of them. If my revelation of having bipolar 2 has encouraged one person to seek help, then it is worth it." But the journey was far from over. The immense pressure that had fractured her mental health also put an unbearable strain on their marriage. In August 2013, the couple announced they were separating to take some time apart. Sources confirmed that the combined stress of the cancer battle and her ongoing health management had taken its toll. That same year, Catherine proactively checked into a treatment facility for a second brief stay, showing her commitment to managing her condition. The seemingly unbreakable union of Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas now teetered on the brink, a stark reminder that even the most glamorous lives aren't immune to hardship. The 2013 separation felt like it could be the final chapter of the fairy tale. But behind the scenes, this wasn't a bitter ending. It was a necessary pause. Michael Douglas never gave up on their marriage. Attending the Emmy Awards solo that year, he publicly thanked his wife and told reporters, "I'm very hopeful that we're going to work things out." And they did. By 2014, the couple had reconciled, stepping back onto the red carpet not as a fantasy couple, but as two survivors who had fought their way back to each other. Their love had been tested and emerged stronger and more realistic. "We're back stronger than ever," Douglas later said in an interview, acknowledging that while all couples have their challenges, theirs were just lived out in the public eye. For Catherine, rebuilding meant accepting a new reality, living with a chronic health condition. This wasn't a battle to be won, but a condition to be managed with the same discipline she brought to her acting roles. This involves therapy, a structured routine, and crucially, managing her stress. She has been open about her need to disconnect from the toxicity of online culture, which she described as poison. Protecting her mental space became a priority. While she never set out to be a poster child for bipolar disorder, she has consistently used her platform to fight stigma. "I hope I can help remove any stigma attached to it," she said, wanting others to know the condition is completely controllable with the right help. Her courage gave a face to bipolar 2, empowering countless others to confront their own struggles without shame. In the years since, Catherine Zeta-Jones's career has also found a new, more deliberate rhythm. She stepped back from the relentless pace of her early years, becoming more selective. She returned to her theatrical roots, winning a Tony Award for her celebrated performance in the Broadway revival of A Little Night Music. More recently, she's captivated a new generation of fans with her deliciously campy portrayal of Morticia Addams in the Netflix hit series Wednesday, a role that feels like a perfect fit. Now, in her mid-50s, she appears to have found a powerful sense of equilibrium. She is actively working on new projects and has channeled her creative energy into her lifestyle brand, Casa Zeta-Jones. Her life today isn't a return to the old fairy tale. It's something far more authentic and resilient. The glamour is still there, but now it's grounded in hard-won wisdom. The storm didn't break her. It reshaped her. The story of Catherine Zeta-Jones is a powerful reminder that the curated images of perfection we see from Hollywood are rarely the full picture. Her journey from the dizzying heights of stardom to the depths of a personal health crisis isn't just a tale of tragedy, it's a story of incredible resilience. The immense stress of her husband's cancer battle became the trigger for her own silent struggle with bipolar 2 disorder. The world saw a supportive wife, But behind closed doors, she was fighting for her own mental health. The near collapse of her marriage was another devastating blow that threatened to shatter her world. But Catherine Zeta-Jones refused to be defined by her diagnosis. By speaking openly about her bipolar II disorder, she transformed a personal crisis into a public act of courage, helping to chip away at the destructive stigma around mental illness. She showed the world that vulnerability isn't a weakness and that seeking help is a profound sign of strength. Her life today is a testament to the hard work of recovery. She has rebuilt her life and marriage on a foundation of honesty and mutual support, finding a new kind of success that prioritizes well-being. Catherine Zeta-Jones's story isn't about a fairy tale unraveling. It's about a strong woman who fought through the darkest of times and forged a new, more inspiring reality.